Hey everyone, I'm David Finz, and thanks for tuning in to the 100th episode of the Cyber Insurance Imperative. Today we're going to be talking about the executive order issued by the President this past week to help manage the risks of artificial intelligence. The White House is calling this, and I quote, the most sweeping actions ever taken to protect Americans from the potential risks of AI systems. So we're going to break down some of the details of this executive order, and I'll note some of the insurance coverages that may be implicated here. And it's not just cyber. First, let's talk about security. The order requires companies developing AI models that pose a serious risk to national security, the economy, or public health to notify the federal government when they train the model. And they must share the results of all red team safety tests with Uncle Sam as well. The order also directs NIST to develop the standards for testing, and DHS will apply those standards to sectors within the critical infrastructure. Now, there's obviously some enforcement exposure here for those companies, but there may also be an opportunity for service providers to do red team testing, and with that comes the potential for errors and omissions, or E&O claims, arising out of negligence in the rendering of those testing services. The order also directs the Department of Commerce to establish standards and best practices for detecting AI content, with watermarking to clearly label AI-generated content so that the general public can distinguish between authentic government communications and imposters. This technology would presumably have applications beyond verifying content from federal agencies. And there's some real potential that such watermarking could be used to crack down on copyright infringement, misappropriation of image, or portraying people in a false light, all of which typically fall within the definition of a wrongful act under a media liability policy. The order calls on Congress to pass bipartisan data privacy legislation, but also signals federal support for the development of technology such as the use of cryptography that will preserve citizens' right to privacy within the context of harvesting data for the purpose of training AI models. Failure to adhere to these federal requirements could result in a privacy liability claim, either in the form of a regulatory inquiry from a federal agency or perhaps even a private right of action if one is permitted under this future national data privacy law. These matters may trigger coverage under a cyber policy. Last but not least, the executive order says the federal government will provide guidance to landlords, federal contractors, and employers in the use of AI in a non-discriminatory fashion. Many activists have cautioned that AI models have the potential to infringe on civil rights by essentially embedding bias into the training model. What many people don't realize is that most employment practice liability policies will also cover claims of unlawful discrimination brought by a non-employee, if it's a category of discrimination that would have been covered had the allegation been made by an applicant or employee as part of an employment decision. We see this often in claims brought by customers alleging violations of the Americans with Disabilities Act, but third-party civil rights claims can manifest themselves in many different ways. Now, if you've tuned in for this long, you've probably picked up on the 4 types of insurance that I have mentioned here, which could come into play when a company uses AI. If you think you have the answers, please send them to me for your chance to win a $25 gift card to your choice of Starbucks or Dunkin. You can DM me on LinkedIn or email me at david.finz@alliant.com. Please note that all responses must be received by 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday, November 8th, and I will announce the winner over LinkedIn on Thursday, November 9th. Contest is void where prohibited by law, and employees of Alliant Insurance Services and their family members are not eligible. I hope this information helps you find the more rewarding way to manage risk. Thanks for watching.